Hey everyone. Okay, we are live right now. Let's put everyone on the screen. No one wants to see me. You are watching the return of SPSM Chat. Hey Hudson, how you doing? Hey Danielle. Hey Marie. Hey anyone else? Okay. Hey me. How are you doing? Hello everyone out there. Let's get this banner off right now.
Rudy, why don't you say hi to me?
Oh, hi Hamlet. How are you doing?
Hi. It's very nice to see you.
We usually see you at the end of the show, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm tired of being second fiddle to this asshole.
That's pretty good. Hey everyone, welcome to SPSM Chat. My New Year's resolution is to stop yelling in the intro. So my name is Rudy Caceres. That's me right there. And this is SPSM Chat. We're still, I guess, 3.0. And we're going to talk about our hopes and predictions for 2020 in suicide prevention. I know that's going to bring up forth some hot takes, so I can't wait to hear from you all. But without further ado, actually, with ado, if you're watching this live, please let us know that you're here. Let us know that you give a damn by saying hello in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or whether you're watching on YouTube or Mixer, the Lord's willing. And we're on Periscope, on Twitter, of course, our home base. And don't worry, if you are following along on the Twitter chat, I'll make sure to bring you in when I do the screen share, and I'll give you some shout outs because I know I can't put your comments on screen this time. Without further ado, since we have no expert guests, I guess that makes us the experts this week. So let's do our Brady Bunch round rectangle quarter thing. And first, but certainly not most, Hudson.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hudson, and this is Hamlet.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. Is that it?
Hi, Hamlet.
Hi.
Do you have any? What do you do these days, Hudson?
Today I was working in my wood shop and playing with the pig. I taught him how to lay down, which was pretty exciting. I'm kind of in a weird holding pattern as my new work and project starts to spin up in a week or so. So I've been doing self-care. So I've been very excited about that.
Would you say that you have been strategizing?
Lots of strategizing, some
of the mental variety.
Yeah, lots of strategy about how to get some sanity back and feel a little bit more centered. It was a pretty kick in the teeth end of the year, so I'm taking care of myself right now, or trying to.
Well, we all love you, Hudson. We're glad you're here. Like I am always like I feel as if like you are the adult in this relationships.
That's really dangerous.
I know. Well, you always come with the facts and figures. I appreciate all you bring to the table. I appreciate all of you. You know who else I appreciate, Hudson? I appreciate Danielle Glick. How you doing, Danielle?
I had to unmute myself. I'm doing okay.
Welcome to 2020.
Sorry about my terrible lighting. Nothing's changed this year.
You got a fancy name graphic on the side.
I know, and I've got the MS is going to change in a couple of months, so that's fun.
Awesome. Get going.
What's it going to change to?
It's going to be LPC and CADC after my name.
I don't think I can fit all that in, so let's just stick with Dr. Glick.
Well, no, MS will drop. MS will drop, and then once I get my doctorate, all of that stuff gets dropped.
Anything else?
Dropped.
Anything else you got?
For dropped.
I have a sinus infection, if anyone wants that.
No.
There you go. So let's go to Joelle now.
Okay. Hi, my name is Joelle Marie Nurse. I am a peer specialist. I was trained in Boston. I have personal experience with suicidal thoughts and issues and circumstances. I'm also a survivor of suicide loss. And I presented at AAS on OCD and suicide. I also like to talk about my experience as an autistic with suicidal issues, accessibility, disability, and those are kind of my jam.
And last, but certainly as most, let's go to Marie.
I'm not last. You're technically last, so still not
Oh.
least. I'm just saying.
There we go.
Hi, everyone. It's Anxiety. I am a mental health streamer. Okay, I know what I am. Yep. I stream live talk shows on Mixer. We're either playing a game, talking about a mental health topic, or interviewing a professional or somebody who wants to share their story about what it's like to live with a certain mental illness. I also have a dog. And I love you all, and I'm super excited to be here with everybody again. I feel like we could all give each other a big hug right now, and I would feel it in my heart. So I'm like just sitting here smiling like an idiot while everybody's coming up on screen like, that's my friend. So it's a good time.
Oh, well, that's awesome to hear from all of you. Before we start, let me get this graphic up. Shout out to Krista Marie, who is running behind the scenes. I threw a lot at her today, so I hope she's not freaking out, because me all on my own, with no graphic design experience at all. Like, I redid all the graphics and everything to make everything look more.
Dude, those are badass. I could not have made those. That's awesome. I really like them.
Him looks really bad. He doesn't have his own.
Look at that. Look at that logo.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You know, like, no joke. I know we got to go to our first question. Google Drawings is like the dopest like graphic design app that's like ever existed.
Wait, that's the thing? Google Drawings?
Yeah, you just open it up in Google Docs, you can select it, and like you can like it's I'll show you later. You guys, you all on SPSM Chat watching at home, the millions and the millions, or I guess the 17. We're already losing viewers, so let's go on to our first question in case you're just joining us. Hi, my name is Rudy Caceres. I am a mental health public speaker. I also do storytelling events. I'll actually be doing my next one on March 8th, so Marie will be taking over as host again. I'm excited for that. Hopefully she gets a lame guest, so therefore I don't miss out on much. So I've been hosting this alongside this beautiful crew since early August of 2019, and it's been a wild ride. I remember when we first did the show, when we had all of us, I was like, well, enjoy it while it lasts, because this is the last time all 5 of us are on the same screen. And what would you know it? We are all here again. We don't need a guest. We are the experts right here, my friends. That is not a lie. So that's enough about me. I love you all. Question number 1, we're talking about hopes and predictions of suicide prevention. Like, basically, if I tend to be bad at wording things. So basically, what you feel like you either want to happen as far as like things to be brought forth into the mainstream discussion, things that you want to go away and never come back, people you don't want to come back, things that you personally want to talk about and bring forth and become an advocate for. And whether or not you see suicide rates lowering or rising or staying in the middle, whether you think that will actually get new data for, say, trans people of color, which is non-existent and is probably very, very high, question mark. So our first question, what were some issues that you had in 2019 that need to be addressed or corrected in 2020? Let's go to Hudson.
Personally, I would start just by a call to action for everybody to, if you're feeling down, if you're in crisis, reach out and talk to people. SPSM lost one of our alum last year. Last year, I saw 3 people that I lost to suicide. And that's one thing I would say personally is just a reminder to everybody that when you're feeling down, when you're feeling even, any of those types of things, to reach out, buy a pig. The other one that I would say is really starting to see more and more of what you talked about, Rudy, which is more representation in the science and literature of populations that haven't been studied in suicide, because everything that I'm seeing through my work and personally is that the rates are generally a lot worse. So we need to dig into that, and I want to see more money going into that, and see suicide actually start to get a lot more money plowed into it. There's more in essential oils research at the FDA than there is in suicide.
What's your favorite essential oil, Hudson?
I like essence of fig and eucalyptus. You're so.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started on eucalyptus. They're starting to die out there in the Australian wildfires, so that sucks.
Rough down there.
Yeah, not to bring you all down. Let's go to Danielle, and she will raise the mood up. Let's bring the question back on here, just so.
Thanks for the pressure. Being that I'm a child therapist, I think that one thing that I would love to see be done better this year is in the school system, because the rates of teens and youth suicides are going up. And I think that a lot of people in the school systems don't really know how to handle suicidal teens or depressive issues and whatnot. And I have seen, I mean, in my area at least, like a lot of kids are self-harming and being hospitalized when they simply just need somebody to talk to. So I really do feel like the school system is something, whether that means people like myself have more opportunities to go into the school systems and, you know, teach education and warning signs. I just feel that to me is the biggest problem. And I think families with youth who are having mental health problems need to also be better educated as well. I see a lot of families treating their kids like their illnesses, not like kids. And I think that feeds into the problem. So just keep the dialogue and keep education up. Keep the dialogue going, like in English.
What say you, Joelle?
What were some issues that you had in 2019 that need to be addressed or corrected in 2020? So personally, some things I ran into is just like specific issues in suicide or that, you know, overlap with suicide is definitely, you know, issues that are close to me are OCD and autism. I mean, there's still not a lot of discussions happening, a lot of education happening, a lot of significant discussions that are actually helpful about OCD and suicide. So last year at AAS, there was, as far as I know, one session on OCD and suicide. Even at the IOCD conference, International Obsessive Compulsive Disorder Foundation conference, there's almost no discussion about suicide and OCD, and that is a very significantly high risk population for suicide. Also, you know, discussions about autism and suicide. Finally, there's like acknowledgement about what autistics have been saying is that we are under extreme distress at extremely high risk for suicide. And yet we're still not being listened to about why that we experience extreme trauma in terms of how people try to change us, that masking is a factor, that a lot of societal issues are factors. I want those things to change. You know, I don't want it to have to be 3-4 decades of research until we're finally listened to, like how many people have died. That's a significant thing.
What say you, Marie?
I would like to join. I do have my own personal issues, like Hudson, but I would like to join everybody in just echoing the same thing, which is the things that weren't addressed nearly enough in 2019 are the same things that weren't addressed nearly enough in 2018 and 2017 and 2016. And so minorities and mental health issues is a huge question that needs to be addressed. Just in general, disability and ensuring that people with disabilities, with other disabilities other than mental illness, receive the help that they need so that their mental illness potentially is not made worse. That's a really big one that I have. Like that's just like in the like live streaming community that I see coming up more and more, and I would love to address that. And also, if we could just like leave the conversation that video games cause violence out in actually if we could like throw it into the last decade, into like 1990, that'd be great. But yeah, in terms of myself, I want to see more freaking confidence, because it was lacking in 2019. That's not going to fly in 2020.
Yeah, no flying in 2020. I learned that the hard way, especially of the car variety. Okay.
What happened?
I want my flying car already.
Oh.
Can I
All
add
right.
one thing?
Yes, Hudson.
I want to add one thing, and this is like, I'm going to start making this like a weekly grind my gears thing. Something that I'm seeing a lot. No one in this room, thankfully, but something that I'm seeing a lot is some in the suicide prevention community, suicide research community, treatment intervention, all those things. I'm starting to see a backslide of not letting people who are traditionally trained in suicide prevention be involved. Whether it's cross-sector partnerships, whether it's involving people who don't have a psychology degree or training, I think that that's the wrong step to take. And I think that it's something that we're starting to see in conferences, something we're starting to see in the literature, something that I know I've seen personally at NIH. I'd like to see it stop. Build partnerships, people. Don't wall people out and tell them that they can't belong because they don't have a degree. There's a lot more out there to learn than just what you can in school.
I agree. So let's take it to the Twitter. Let me start up this screen share thing, majigger, and let's see what people have to say. Hopefully people know that we're here. You guys see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so let me just refresh this some bitch. Let us know that you're here on the Twitter. We love our Twitter family. You know that, right? We'll get to question number 2, no worries. Suicide is different. We still see gaps in support services for #impacted family friends. In 2020, we are focused on parents and other caregivers of youth. Research has come out around youth suicide rates increasing, and having educated and supported caregivers is extremely impact. Thank you for using that #SPSM. Michelle says, personally, I want to do more work on the advocacy and for suicide prevention / intervention / etc. by people of color. Is that, we talked about this? I'm sorry. What does the BI stand for again? Anyone?
I think what you said.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle. And LGBTQ plus communities. I'm hoping to continue working on clinical end as well. Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate you being one of our MVPs. Who is wishing us a Happy New Year. That is, from San Francisco. You're not too far away from me. You are right now because I'm in fucking Delaware. Hi, Katie Gordon. How are you? I appreciate you. Hi, Em. How are you? Katie Gordon was a guest recently on SPSM Chat. Danielle is a co-host. You might know about her. She's awesome, by the way. Don't follow her on Twitter. She will not accept that. And hey, suicide is different. Okay, so question number 2, and that would be so many things going on. Question number 2, that blocks me. So what are you personally going to do to help prevent suicide in 2020? And I actually do have a response for this. So, but we'll wait until me at the end. So let's hear from Hudson.
Personally, I'm going to pester the shit out of my friends. I'm going to call all of you that I'm talking with now. Some of you I've already been talking to and reaching out. I'm going to reach out. I realized towards the end of last year, with all of the clusterfuck that was 2019, I lost my nephew, my uncle, and 2 dear friends, all in 2019, and my dog. And so it was a pretty rough end of the year. And so I realized towards the end of the year, I wasn't reaching out like I normally do. So I am going to start reaching back out and pestering people, making sure people are okay. Personally, I'm also going to keep up my dope meme game. I really like memes, and I like the joy that they bring to people. Professionally, I'm going to start working on some patient experience stuff. I'm also working with San Diego on how to use data to build a data-driven behavioral health model, how to tackle suicide using actual data so we know what's happening and where things are going. So that's how I'm going to do it personally and professionally.
Hudson, can you pester me more often?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I just love how crisp and clear you are every time you're on the show.
It's my fancy light.
I know we're all jealous. That is one of my goals for 2020. I am going to outdo you on the lighting game. Okay.
I want you to.
then will I whoa. I don't know. What am I doing? Let's go with Danielle. I am a wordsmith tonight.
So what am I personally going to do to help? Well, being a therapist, I am right there on the front lines, and I am a crisis clinician. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, which is trying to help people develop more coping skills, including myself, keeping myself alive. And I'm in this like process of planning on getting a whole bunch of different certifications to continue to help people develop better coping skills and ways to reach out when they're not in a good place. I'm going to keep providing psychoeducation to families and other people who want to learn more about what to look out for, and keep spreading the message that, you know, suicidal ideation does not look the same on everybody else. A lot of people can't tell when I'm in suicidal mode. And that's something that I try to teach people. So I'm just going to keep advocating and talking and being there for people. That's all I can offer right now.
Awesome. I appreciate you so much, Danielle. Do I do that enough? Do I show my appreciation to you enough?
Too much, but I appreciate it.
Awesome. Let's go to Marie, and I want to make sure I give the shout outs to the people on Mixer. I don't believe we're able to show their comments. Joe. Yeah.
No, go. I was going to shout them out.
you okay. Let's say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Hey,
Hi,
Joey
Splat.
Hi, Whitey Gamer.
Hi, Whitey Gamer. Yeah, nailed it.
Thank you for following Little Kindred. Okay, so let's get to. Did you already answer this, or
no?
Okay, cool. Go.
No, we're doing great. So in terms of what I want to do to help prevent suicide in 2020, number one, I want to do as much as kind of like what Danielle was saying, but expanding on that. I want to do as much as possible as an advocate to remove the stigma from suicidal ideation. So obviously mental illness has its own stigma, but even amongst therapists, there is an issue with hearing and reacting properly to patients that say that they're having suicidal thoughts. And I feel like raising awareness on that end is a very, very important matter, and talking about the fact that suicidal ideation is terrifying, and I understand your immediate reaction to it, but it doesn't have to be. If you know what to do, and if you're correctly prepared, and if you don't immediately go into panic mode, there's a pretty okay way to handle it. So beyond that, I myself want to help to stick to that myself. I'm also great at wording today, Rudy, so don't feel bad. To stick to that myself, I want to I have in the past, when people have reached out to me, and this happens a lot to advocates, where people reach out to you that are complete strangers that are like, I'm having suicidal thoughts, help me. And you're like, well, I'm not trained in this at all, and I'm not sure what to do. And I feel like this year I did a little bit more research to prepare myself to send people, not just send them the hotline and call it a day. And I'm not going to handle the crisis, so I want to make that very, very clear. But to send them to maybe more resources to de-escalate before just being like, here's the hotline, bye, okay, bye. So definitely not saying that I'm going to handle the situation, but definitely also not just running away myself. I don't want other people to run away and be scared of just suicidal ideation as a concept.
You just made me think of something.
Ooh.
Is that as a therapist, I cease to exist as a person. And I think a lot of people need to understand that clinicians also have mental health problems that they need to tend to. And that when I leave the office, I'm me, I'm not the therapist. And too many people, I know a lot of my friends watch this on social media, too many people take advantage of my education. And then I have these explosive outbursts where I'm really sad, depressed, and suicidal myself. And, I see a therapist, and I am a therapist, and this is something that is very real and not talked about a lot, which is the clinicians having, suicidal problems, going to psych hospitals. We deal with the same things, and most of us are in this field for that exact purpose. So I think that's important for something to expand on during 2020 is more conversations about clinicians' mental health too. And for everyone who's watching this to remember that we have our own problems also.
Have you read You Should See Someone by Lori Gottlieb?
No, I've never heard of that book.
Okay, so it's her perspective. She is a therapist, and she talks about like every chapter is her about her seeing patients and like what goes through her head as she sees patients, and then she goes to a therapist to deal with a breakup and how she handles that and kind of like the game that goes on in her head as she's trying to figure out what the therapist is going to tell her, and then she finally lets down her guard. It's a fantastic book, and having Dr. Gottlieb on would be so freaking cool because she's a badass. But You Should See Someone is the book. It's great.
I'm
Consider her book.
Cart right now.
Yes.
Actually, Marie, can you send me a link to that? I'll put that on the blog and I'll tweet it out as well.
Sweet.
And let's go to Joelle. Question number 2.
What are you personally going to do to help prevent suicide in 2020? I've thought about this a little more, and I realized, I've kind of been holding back on the best ways that I feel that I influence people, not on a grander sphere, but just those people around me who I engage with normally. And I think that I do best in that way. I tell things that I've experienced or things that I've observed, and then compare it to what people are actually saying in research now or recently, and what is supposed to be common knowledge, and like compare and contrast. And I think I really need to do that more because I think that is a strength of mine. So like one of the goals I have for next year is to really do that much more. Tell a lot more about my stories, my personal experiences, and compare it to what is supposed to be common knowledge, and point out where that's probably wrong. Because I think that is a big problem, not just for my personal experiences, but what we know as lived experience, general knowledge, and then what the research is saying is supposed to be common knowledge. Also, another thing, I want to push to attend more conferences and present more, and honestly ask for more money to do that, because I should be getting it because I have lived experience and I have a lot to say, and we should all be doing that.
Hell yeah!
So, and we should all get money to say these things to the people who can help us change things. So yeah.
That sounds like a Too Short song. Hey, can I talk?
Please.
I guess.
What are you personally going to do to help prevent suicide in 2020? I don't prevent suicide. I've always thought that was weird. Unless I guess like you're literally pulling someone off the bridge, I guess. But I don't want to do that because maybe the person won't appreciate it ever. So I made a Facebook post about this, and the thing is that I don't SPSM Chat. We don't save lives. Like I don't think anyone's ever gonna watch this and like they were suicidal that night and now they're not. They decided not to take their lives. I do think though that SPSM Chat, it better, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it, can have a profound impact on people's lives. We see it every week. We see the new people who join us, except for that one person who tuned out right now, who join us every week. When we take a week off, people are knocking on our doors, wanting us to come back. People are volunteering their time. People are sharing our content. People are wanting to be guests on. I love seeing that community. I feel like that's my number one strength, is building and fostering community. So, although that's kind of, I guess, a cop-out answer, or not the answer that most people would give, is that I don't save lives. SPSM Chat doesn't save lives, but I really, truly do believe that what we do changes lives for the better. And should be the goal of suicide prevention all along. We shouldn't wait until the person is on the bridge. We shouldn't wait until the person has already attempted. It's a hospital place to begin with, and that people feel safe. People feel comfortable sharing their innermost horrible thoughts, no matter how uncomfortable it might make people. That's suicide prevention, in a way, I guess. Any thoughts from any of you before we get on to question number 3?
Yes. Sorry, I actually, I wrote something recently about this kind of as a comment, and I'd like to actually just say that because I feel like it's easier. If you just give me a second.
Okay.
I still on the topic kind of are we saving a life or are we helping people live? I guess there's a difference. I'm just going to quote something I said. I still think that at least you are alive, but traumatized, but have no rights, but feel defeated, but have had your sense of trust in those around you taken away. At least you're alive is not acceptable endpoint for me. Just breathing is not enough for me. There are already reasons I don't want to be here, and people justify inflicting more pain, abuse, manipulation, and trauma on me because at least I'm alive. But breathing is not enough for me. I don't give a fuck if it's enough for you because your feelings about my life are not more important than my feelings about my life, since I need to live it. I need to be the one who lives each day and the aftermath of each of those days, even if other people decide for me. So we need to stop concentrating on saving the life, and we need to concentrate more on assisting people in living that life. And that's what's so infuriating for me about all of this.
Hallelujah. So before we get on to question number 3, let's get on to the Twitter chat again, seeing if anyone. Hey, Emily, again, sharing pictures of puppies. We're on that screen, right? You can all see her puppy. Thank God, because that is something. Actually, that's that. I don't think that is her puppy. That's just a random GIF. Don't tease us like that.
We're going to talk later about your use of GIF, but go on.
Okay. Shout out
Hold
to
up.
MuleSoft.
Hold up. Did somebody say GIF?
Yeah, Rudy did. We'll talk about it later. That's definitely not suicide prevention.
I'm trying to give some shout outs to people like Suicide is Different, if that is their real name. They say we still see gaps in support service. Okay, we already read that. Okay.
Are you
All
going to
right.
thank God later? Or?
Yeah. Shut the. I don't want to say shut the piggy up, but okay. Question.
Down.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I do want to give a shout out to Kimya, who's a previous guest. Meet your mic. Be visible in communities and with health organizations to address cultural factors that influence suicidal behaviors and access to suicide prevention resources. Well said, Dr. Kimya Dennis. Dr. Kimya Neurodennis, I appreciate you. Go check out her website, www.kimyandennis.com. I'm hoping to have you on again soon. We should just have her on like every other week, to be honest. Question number 3, and that would be, how can we bring in more diverse voices in 2020, and why has that been challenging? Take it away, Marie.
Man.
Oh, you know I was going to call on Hudson. There we go.
You keep throwing curveballs, poor Christopher.
Keeping you on your toes.
You're doing great, girl. Don't worry. So how can we bring more diverse voices? I think that's literally up to people like me and Rudy who have these talk shows. Like, right? It's up to us to bring these people and give them a voice when you can. If you have a platform, to give other people a voice who might have a smaller platform than you. And it's hard because there's not a lot of people speaking up, and that's it's by definition, the word minority means that there's less people who are talking about that. And and therein lies the problem. But therein also lies, like, that is my problem to solve. That is not somebody else's, that is not people of color, that is not any minority's problem to solve. It is my problem to help them, to find a way to find them and give them the representation that they deserve.
Cool. And to continue the Appreciation Fest, I just want to say that the field or meadow that you walk through in the beginning of your live streams is so nice. Where is that?
I can't. I'm not going to tell you because. Oh yeah, it's right. It's not far from my house, but it's also very far. So if you're looking for my house, it is nowhere. No, but seriously, it's like this really beautiful park that's nearby. And I don't think we were technically supposed to be in that grassy area, but it was really pretty. So I was like, they won't die if we're here for 20 minutes. So that's where we were. Thank you for asking.
Cool. No
Can you
one
tell us
died.
exactly where you live?
Huh?
I was wondering if you could tell us exactly where you live. Just wondering, like, super, where's my park?
It's by a park. Yeah, now you know where it is. You guys, please don't dox me. I'm by a park. There's only one park in the entirety of the U.S. I mean, at the rate we're going.
That's why people tune in to SPSM Chat, to get the exclusive content. What say you, Joelle? Question number 3. How can we bring in more diverse voices in 2020, and why has that been challenging? Hashtag SPSM.
So I think sorry, my hair distracted me. I think a big issue is really accessibility, and that can mean several different things. It can mean just simply access to venues, access to platforms like, digital platforms, or it can be like transportation access to even something that is completely free, and everybody knows about it, but not everybody can get there. So we need to think about like different ways to actually get people to things that they want to engage in, but also things that we typically think of as access. So like accommodations, like physical access, and language and communication. I think that it is difficult to engage people sometimes when we don't provide those things. And I think those things aren't provided because they're not seen as priority, and they definitely should be. They're not seen as absolutely necessary. They definitely should be. If we want people to engage, we want to find out what people need and want. We need to enable them to participate and engage the best way that they need to. I also think we need to continue to acknowledge and push the idea that there's not something wrong with you if you are in a desperate situation and want to escape that situation. So getting rid of the narrative that like you are sick in the head or you are mentally ill because you may want to die to escape a desperate situation or extreme distress.
Danielle?
Sorry, I keep myself on mute. I'm really tired, not feeling well tonight, so I'm just going to pass on this question because I can't formulate proper thoughts. So I apologize.
We love you.
That's totally fine. You're keeping it real. I appreciate you so much, Danielle. Let's hear from Hudson.
So I just want to echo a little bit of what Joelle said, and Marie said. I think all of us that are here, and I think a lot of people that are watching, we get put into positions where we have the opportunity to include voices that might otherwise not be heard. A lot of times it's easier to take the voice that might be more popular or might be a bigger draw. I think it's not just our responsibility. I think it's our duty to actively go out and find new voices and find people that have not been given a voice. One of my mentors in law school told me, to whom much is given, much is expected. And that was one of the champions of diversity inclusion there. And I think that that's really important. Like, we have a duty to go out there and get mad about the fact that there isn't more inclusion, there isn't more diversity in what we're doing. At South by Southwest last year, Joelle and I spent, a bunch of time on the phone. She had a friend there who was trying to navigate, and there were no resources. Like, it was just like nothing. So we need to get mad. We need to force the issue. We need to include new voices. And then when they're not there or the resources aren't there to allow people to participate, we need to get pissed about it. And we need to call it out on Twitter. And we need to, not get the pitchforks, but we need to make sure that people know. There have been a couple of things over this past year where I've, stood up or said things or been given the opportunity to include voices that I hadn't. And I've learned a whole lot about how to do that right. And a lot of times it's not my job to talk. It's my job to facilitate the people who need to talk, to get them out there on stage so that they can say what they need to say.
What say you? Did we go to everyone yet?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Oh, awesome. Question number 4.
Hashtag SPSM, hashtag A3.
Yes, that is awesome. I appreciate everyone who is following along, not only on the Twitter chat, but also on Facebook and YouTube and Mixer as well. I'm trying to respond to all of you as well. Make sure you feel included, but we're already falling behind on time. So question number 4, the final question, and then we'll get into final thoughts, and then we'll freestyle for a while. We'll get you our patented piggy update. Question number 4. do you see suicide rates going down or up in 2020, and why? I guess I should call on someone. How about Joelle?
I'm gonna be a downer. I'm sorry. I don't necessarily see them going down, and I'm sorry. I would like them to go down. I would hope that they go down. I think that the best we can hope for is that they come close to flatlining, and I hate to use that word, but I think it has a lot to do with what we're accepting that are realistic factors in suicide, and I think it has a lot to do with how we pick it up as responsibility for society as a whole to take care of each other and check in on each other. Are we going to actually pick that up more, or are we going to continue to be this individualized society where we just take care of our own ass? So I don't want to say it's gonna continue to rise. I fear it will. It's my answer.
Well, I mean, if you think the suicide rates are going to drop in any appreciable manner in 2020, I've got news for you, Jack. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't see that happening either. And the thing is, just because when the CDC reports come out and all that stuff, just because if they do flatline or they do rise again, it doesn't mean all the work that we're doing is for naught, that we're failing. Certainly many people are and should not be in charge of grants and research. Obviously, of course, get them
We
out
have
as
the
fast as
tea
possible.
tonight. Oh my God.
Yes.
I have one more thing to say. Sorry, I think I wasn't completely done. I think I just bummed myself out and shut myself up.
No, continue, Joel.
I'm almost done. So I think it also has to do with what are we including in suicide rates, because I think that we don't always include what is actually suicide, what is people intending to end their lives as suicide. Sometimes there's very specific definitions for suicide that aren't inclusive of everything. And I think that's really important to consider. So
yeah, no, that
I totally
needs to be
bummed
talked
myself
about.
out like completely.
No. Hey, SPSM Chat is not all sunshine and lollipops, okay? Thank you for your comment, Grace. I appreciate that. Hard to look at the media and know what direction, can you go back? Okay. And know what direction we're headed and how it drives hopelessness, and logically think in the midst of this, people are going to want to live. That is very true. We're not, Grace goes on to say, we're not failing. Just think what the numbers would be if we stopped trying to save lives. And that is correct. And we all do our own thing. So if you're someone who, for whatever reason, is only able to advocate online, is only able to say, you make t-shirts. I know a lot of people say like, oh, there's too many t-shirts, blah, 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 what they do. But if that's your thing, if you're an artist, and you want to contribute to the cause somehow, by all means, go for it. It beats laying on your ass all day, right? Right, Hudson?
He's muted.
Yeah, it does, Rudy. Thank you.
I just do things like that just to keep people on their guard at all times.
Yeah.
So let's go to Marie. What was question number 4 again, right?
So Joel Marie, you're by far not alone in thinking that. Like, we're not gonna, I don't think it does anybody a service if you come onto SPSM Chat and you're like, okay, suicide prevention social media, and they're like, you know what, suicide rates are going down, everything is fine, we don't even need to be here, but you're here because everything's wonderful. So the day the show becomes that, I'm signing off. So, and it's by far not that. But yeah, what are the realities? We have the statistics that our current political sphere is causing people to have extreme rates of depression we haven't seen. There's rates of teen suicide that we haven't seen before. Like, what about any trend out there would lead us to believe that our mental health period is going to improve in 2020. So as much as that's a downer, that's reality. But what is that? That tells me we got work to do. We got shit to get done. That doesn't, so like, as much as that bums me out, that also tells me like, okay, let's like that's what we're doing as much as we can in the space that we have. The four of us are sitting here, five, because Chris is helping. But we are sitting in the space and trying to, like, the first three questions we had were basically come up with solutions, come up with the next steps for us. And that's what we're doing when we're doing the best we can in the position that we are given. And that's the best we can freaking do. I mean, yes, it's a bummer, but it would be way more of a bummer if we were just sitting here and being like, well, suicide rates are going up. That's going to suck. Next, you know. That's not what, I feel good about what we're trying to do.
No, and I appreciate all you do, Marie. But by the way, people are giving me shit on Mixer for my pronunciation of GIF.
Yeah, because it's wrong. It's wrong. GIF.
The guy who created the GIF, the actual file format, pronounced it. Okay.
Yeah, right. You know, and Bruce Willis also said that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. But you know what? People can be wrong about their opinions. That's it. I rest my case.
All right. Are you feeling up to join the conversation again, Danielle? All right.
I had to unmute myself. I'm going to agree with everybody else, and I don't see it going down. Like 2 hours ago, I was reading some article about, obviously my life is centered around children and teens. And I think that the thing that I read said 56% increase in youth suicide in the past couple of years. And I do think that we're failing, especially the children, because they are dying at an alarming rate. So I think that even with all the advocacy and education that we are putting out there, we're still doing something wrong and we still need to do more. I know that there's also not enough therapists, psychiatrists, all that stuff. You know, that's gone down. And I think that we need to try and make this field look more attractive to people so that we can provide more helpers for these people who are met with suicidal crisis. So I want to believe that since the dialogue has gotten better over the past couple of years, that it's going to decrease, but I personally don't think it will. But I will play my part where I am and keep trying to prevent people from doing so, because that's all I can do.
Well, thank you for that, Danielle. Did you get a chance to talk yet, Hudson?
No, I did not.
Okay, this is what happens when I go out of order. I confuse myself.
Yeah, you confused me too. I think that we'll probably stay close to the same, maybe a little worse. I just think, you know, was it next year, the estimated spending for suicide research from NIH is 93 million, up from 68 million in 2017. That's still way less than a variety of other things like essential oils, vitamins, gets 5 times the amount of research. So, you know, we need to push our people, our electeds, to research this as the public health crisis that it is. And I think that until we really start to treat this like a public health crisis as a nation, I mean, I think as a field we're getting better, but I think as a nation, we have to start pushing more money to this. It's the only top 10 cause of death that has not gone down out of all 10 top causes of death. It's gone up 33%, while the rest of the top 10 causes of death have plummeted because they're treated and researched with science and humongous amounts of dollars. So I think until we start to really put money into it, I think it'll be hard to move the needle. I hope that the 3-digit, the new number helps, but we've got to get upstream. We have to start helping people earlier, more therapists, more access to school counselors. I didn't realize, I've been doing some research and found out that a lot of the major school counselor programs have completely disappeared from some of the largest institutions in the country because we're not funding it. We're not funding arts and music and, you know, how to pronounce GIF correctly. And we have to start spending money on it or we won't move the needle.
Hudson, why do you hate Big Essential so much?
I don't. I just think that as the National Institutes of Health is researching things, it should research things like the top 10 causes of death. And when you're researching other things a lot more, it's a little bit sad because it shouldn't be that way.
Well, there goes our sponsor for next week. So,
oh, wait, we have someone coming on because I'd love to talk about this. Like the $90 million earmarked for zero suicide funding for NIH grants, and they put out like $700,000. I mean, like, even when the money's earmarked, the people reviewing the grants know so little about suicide and mental health that they pan them without understanding what's going on. So it's not just an issue of is there money, which is one. It's also an education of the people that are involved in actually approving the grants and getting away from a dart against the wall approach.
Yeah, like when they ditch peer support programs.
One more time, I like that.
So when they ditch peer support programs and don't provide funding for that because they say it has nothing to do with suicide prevention.
Yeah, but your essential oils, they've researched the hell out of that.
well,
CBD,
I mean,
that's important.
we were going to have an essential oils company as our sponsor next week, but guess what? I guess it's
Way to
canceled.
go, Hudson.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I'm proud of it.
Okay, well, he's got his pig agent, so he's not hurting for money. So, okay, so we're at final thoughts now. We got about 6 or so minutes left. Final thoughts and
We're
hopes,
spicy tonight.
predictions.
We're perfect. Perfect. It is the right amount of heat. I'm loving it.
Yes. Let's go with Marie for final thoughts.
All right. Here's my final thought to everybody. Can we pull everybody back, Elsa? Because I'm about to give a love note, and I want to make sure everybody can see it. What? I love you. I love you. I love you. That's it. That's my final thought. You guys heard everything. I'm not gonna repeat anything, but I love this human bunch over here, and they're absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for everything we're trying to do.
Yes, and make sure to go follow Marie at mixer.com/mziety. Every time I watch a live stream under the SPSM Chat account, I give her all my embers and like just completely
Really
unload.
cute.
just spam the comments.
It's really cute. I appreciate it so much. There's like so much, like between Danielle being like, I love you, you're all beautiful. And like Joelle being like, I'm going to tell you what's what. And I love you. And Hudson being like, I'm going to support the crap out of you. What do you need me to do? And Rudy just like being a cheerleader in my corner, no matter what. Like you guys are all, you guys all know exactly, have your perfect own brand of awesomeness. Thank you.
Yes,
I see what you're doing, and I don't like being in the middle of it at all.
She is amazing. Okay, so final thoughts, Hudson.
I'm gonna get a little serious just for a second because I kind of want to go back to where I started this afternoon, or started, an hour ago.
Sure.
2019 was a kick in the teeth for a lot of people. I know it was for me. It was a year of just unbelievable loss and change, and I'm still trying to unpack it, and I'm still trying to work and fight my way through it. So my final thoughts to everyone out there is reach out, talk to people. Hope is there. Like, be with us and stay with us and do things like take care of yourself. I'm learning at 37, 38 how to self-care. I've never been good at it. I'm just a doer. I do. And then all of a sudden hit the end of last year and I was done. I had nothing left to give. So take care of yourself. Find the things that bring you joy. Tell me about them. I'd love to hear them. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. I want to hear about it, and take care of yourself and love each other because we need you here.
Awesome. And we'll get back to you, Hudson, with you know what. Let's go to Danielle.
Final thoughts. You're all beautiful. Those are my final thoughts. No, kind of just basically like what he was saying is that I'm trying for the first time ever to tend to my self-care. This is a really, really heavy year for me. I've got doctorate applications, licensing exams, like all this stuff going on. And I think it's really important to just continue to take care of ourselves. And like he said, to keep reaching out to people. We know our friends, we know our family, we know when something's wrong, and people are not going to always be able to vocalize what they need. So take that extra 2 minutes to pay attention. And when people are talking to you, instead of just hearing the sound of their voice, try to listen, because the power of active listening to somebody who is feeling suicidal or depressed is really important. You don't want to make people feel more alone when they already feel alone. So just keep being present, and don't forget to show up for yourself too.
Do you have a Post Malone update?
A what?
Post Malone update?
Oh, that's right. I broke up with Aaron Carter. I'm now dating Post Malone because he has more face tattoos. I forgot.
Oh my God! Can you help me hook me up with a sponsorship for Madrinas through him? That's great. Thank you.
Honest to God, I would never date either of them.
Oh,
I'm only doing it because I'm a people pleaser.
come on, at least it's a story. I mean,
I'll probably go see Post Malone in concert this year just to like keep it going for like 10 minutes.
I'll go with you. If you find a concert, let me know.
He's actually going to be in between the both of us in like 3 weeks.
There's an
So
update.
if you want, I'll message you on Facebook and we'll set this up because he'll be in Long Island. So.
Okay, final thoughts, Joelle.
I miss living on the East Coast. Yeah, I did have some final thoughts. So I really, I really do want to drive the point home about, supporting people in living rather than just keeping their heart and brain going, and, really focusing on like, how are we supporting people and why are we doing it? Are we doing it for them so that they can have a quality of life, so that they can live, so that they can have that life and be living it? Or are we just keeping their body alive so that we feel like we did something? And I really, I appreciate that is an incredibly difficult thing to think about your loved ones. It is something that I have dealt with myself, both personally and professionally as a support. But I very strongly believe that we need to support people in how they want to live and how they want to die. And that's an important aspect of suicide prevention, in supporting people for how they want to live and die. And we can't just keep someone's heart beating, keep someone's brain going. We have to support them all around. And that means a quality of life.
Yes. Well, I guess final thoughts for me is, if you broaden what you see suicide prevention, especially if you're going to call yourself a suicide prevention advocate, really trying to expand upon that, because anyone can call himself that, just like they can call themselves a mental health advocate, which I call myself as well. It's all good, but make sure that you're doing all you can to really advocate, not just for yourself or people close to you, people who are marginalized, people who don't have a voice, and you can do like I do and provide platforms to them to speak. Use your strengths. Like I said, if you're an artist, do something along those lines. I know great people who have T-shirts. They donate some of the profits to suicide prevention causes. So just because you can't save a life with a T-shirt, that doesn't mean that it can't go towards a good cause. If you get what I'm saying, if you know where I've been. So yeah, just do all you can to not. Okay, here's what I'll say about this. I don't have a problem with you calling yourself a suicide prevention advocate, but you also need to see suicide prevention from a human rights, social justice perspective, which I'm certainly not the first to bring up. It needs to be hammered home daily, though. So suicide prevention is not just building a net. It's not just dragging someone off the bridge or pulling someone off the freeway. All that stuff that we see sensationalized in the news. It needs to be 24/7, 365 days. It needs to be reaching out to your friends, calling out someone from high school that you haven't talked to in a while, but you've been thinking about, who might be going through a hard time. Stuff like that, okay? Just try to really expand what suicide prevention is, just like try to expand what being a mental health advocate is. It's not just, oh, my friend is sick, I need to call call 911, or my friend's about to jump off a cliff, therefore I need to call 911. There's so much more in the minute details. But before I go on and on and on, God damn it, we're going to give you a piggy update, right, Hudson?
Hello, Hamlet. Oh. Say hello, Hamlet. Oh, can you take down the really?
went through a lot of work putting that together.
He sounds like a noisemaker.
Hamlet loves it. Yes, he does. Hamlet is doing quite well. He has learned how to sit, stay, lay down, crawl, dance, and twirl now. He's also learned how to open every cabinet in the house, even when there's a magnet on it, which is a new adventure. He loves to get into Tupperware. And we're calling 2020 the year of Hamlet's Happiness Hand Grenade, because we're taking him out into public so that people can meet him and say hi. And he just brings so much joy. And he wants to say, Happy New Year, everybody.
Are you going to get another pig in 2020?
Hell no.
Okay, so that's going to do it for this week. Shout out again to the people on Twitter. Hopefully, as the weeks come, people will start coming back and joining us. I know the holidays are a hectic time. Like Joel and I are in Delaware right now, so I didn't want to wait one more week to start up SPSM Chat again. Next Sunday, we have a special show for you. None of us are going to be on it. Dr. April Foreman, who is the original host of SPSM Chat, she reached out to me yesterday about wanting to do a tribute show to it's Dr. David Marin, correct?
David. Yeah.
Yes. So he is recently died by suicide and was a someone near and dear to the SPSM Chat team. So he was a guest on SPSM all the way back, and so she reached out to me, wanted to bring the original team together and pay tribute for one night only. So that will be next Sunday, 7 p.m. Central Time. So it's the original time of SPSM Chat. So I guess that would be, 7 p.m.
Eastern?
So wait, hold on. Okay, I think I might have tweeted it out wrong too, so apologies. So 7 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
No.
Right?
No. If it's 7 p.m. Pacific, it's 10 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. Well. Okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. So
you got it.
It's 9 p.m. Central Time. Okay. Let's just say that. Whatever. You do the math in your head. Okay. But I don't want to make light of the situation, so I'll make sure to tweet out again the right time in case I got it wrong in the tweet. So, and then I'll let April handle all the rest of the promotion and everything, so I don't want to speak out of turn. So that's what's going on next Sunday. 2 weeks from now, we'll be back. Probably not Hudson. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Hudson.
Hi, Rudy's mom.
No, my mom. Well,
Hi, Joel's mom.
So before this runs off the rails, I just want to say thank you, everyone, especially those who stuck with us all the way since August. I appreciate you all. And please go check out next Sunday's show. You're in for a very meaningful experience, even if you don't know the doctor. Even I don't. But I'm sure he's a great guy. So I will be checking that out. I'll be tweeting along. 2 weeks from now, we'll all be back with a new guest. So be on the lookout for that. We've yet to confirm a guest. So please, if you're not following SPSM Chat, I don't know why. That's so weird. Whatever. Okay. So until 2 Sundays from now, hold your piggies close.